Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Sam Culper. You're watching Forward Observer. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. It was great to be around family. I was digging through my office and I found my notes from almost 1 year ago to the day. I was picking my way through Introduction to Warfighting, which is a Marine Corps distance learning manual that I picked up from some used bookstore somewhere. And what I was going to do is go through this manual, pick out all the concepts of warfighting, and then explain the intelligence behind them. So in the last video that I did, you can find it. I posted it a little over a year ago now. The first part, I think it's called SHTF Concepts. And I went over why we study warfighting, and that is because there are a lot of moving parts to warfighting. It's not just killing people. That's why there used to be this thing in the Army, this recruiting campaign called, there's over 200 ways to join the Army, right? I mean, that's 200 MOSs that were all involved in one form or function, supporting the Army or supporting operations in general. And you can look at the combat support types of activities and the combat service support types of activities and see that, hey, logistics and intelligence and medicine and security and communications and signal and all these other things, they're all involved. They're all required to keep operations going. Well, in part one, we talked about friction and uncertainty. And friction is little things that happen along the way that slow down your movement. Okay, you thought it might take, 2 hours to drive down this road, and it took you 4.5. Or you might think, you could have, I don't know, there's lots of different versions, there's lots of types of friction, and I actually go into those in detail in that first video. And then the second warfighting principle from last time is uncertainty. There's some things that we're not going to know until we get there. And dealing with uncertainty, I mean, you have to make decisions about the future, but you have to make them right now. Because we're talking about priorities and mission requirements. There are certain things that we are going to need to make plans for, and we simply aren't going to know exactly what we're going to get into or exactly what we'll need, and that produces uncertainty. Now, on the intelligence side, uncertainty comes from not knowing what the enemy is going to do, or maybe not knowing where the enemy is, or not knowing what the enemy's capabilities are. For my notes for this video, I want to talk about the 3 levels of warfighting. But first, I have to tell you, today through next week, my company, Forward Observer, we're doing a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. If you just go to forwardobserver.com/Black Friday, I'll put the link down in the comments or in the description. Every day, Monday through Friday, we produce an intelligence report. And we look for political, social, economic instability. And then we also track extremist groups. So what they're saying online, what they're doing, what their future plans are, whatever we can find. And we publish that every day in a report called Early Warning. And the whole point of this is to get a sense of the future before it happens. So for instance, we track hedge funds and major investment firms, and we look at the things that they're saying. And whenever they talk about, major shifts that they're making or what they think the economy is going to do, or any type of warning signs that they talk about, any type of warning signs in the future, well, we publish that in the report. So we keep our subscribers to the absolute best of our ability, keep them aware of potential disruption that could happen, but before it happens. If you want to go check us out, you can go to forwardobserver.com or go to forwardobserver.com/Black Friday to get 50% off an annual subscription to that report. All right, the 3 levels of warfighting, and let me explain how this pertains to us. 3 levels of warfighting are the same for intelligence and operations. You have the tactical level, which is the lowest level. That's the local level. That is what's going on down the street or on the other side of town, or maybe on the other side of the county. Above the tactical level, you have the operational level, which would, for us, be what's going on in your state or maybe what's going on in your region. And then for us, the national or the strategic level would be what's happening across the nation, what's happening in Washington, D.C., or maybe what's happening in other parts of the world. Now, in the Army, you have the squad and the platoon and the company and the battalion at the tactical level, and you have the brigade, and then, you know, working your way from the operational level to the strategic level, you have brigade, division, corps, and then echelons above corps. I don't want to bore you with all that stuff, but just for us in preparedness, understand, you know, it's the tactical local level, followed by the operational level, followed by the national or strategic level. And the reason I point all that out is in intelligence, what I highly recommend everyone do is use my 60-30-10 framework. 60% of the time that you spend looking through information should be on the local level. 30% should be at the county or the state or maybe the regional level. And then 10% should be at the national or strategic level. Because everyone says, well, I'm preparing for an EMP, or I'm preparing for societal collapse, or I'm preparing for whatever, nuclear holocaust. The things that are really going to affect you are going to be things that are going on at the local or tactical level. And if you don't understand the tactical level, then it doesn't matter how well you understand what's going on in DC, and it doesn't matter how well you understand what's going on in a war with China at a strategic level, if you don't know what's happening down your street, because that's going to be the things that actually affect you. So 60-30-10, spend 60% of your time looking at local issues. That's why we do an area study. That's why we build a local intelligence network. And then above that, we have operational. And then finally, we have the national or strategic level. So I have a question on my notes that reads, how do we support operations at each level? How does intelligence support operations at the tactical, operational, and strategic levels? Well, at the tactical level, of course, we can do our area study. And I'm not going to belabor that point. I've done tons of videos on the area study. In addition to an area study, we can begin setting up our basic intelligence collection, right? So we have a multidisciplinary approach. We collect human intelligence from our friends, family, neighbors, acquaintances, and their friends, families, neighbors, and acquaintances. We collect imagery intelligence. Maybe we use Google Earth Pro. Maybe we have a drone that we can fly around. By the way, I was looking at drones the other day. I think I'm going to go ahead and break down and buy one. We have signals intelligence, so listening to a police scanner or listening to some radio receiver, listening into local radio traffic. You know, there may not be much right now, but during an emergency, maybe we do find these people who are within a couple miles away, and we can listen into their communications because they're using these bubble pack walkie-talkies. And we have a radio that allows us to find those frequencies very quickly. I mean, basically, as soon as they key up, within a fraction of a second, within maybe 1 or 2 seconds at most, I've got a radio that will go out and find those frequencies. And then I just set it up and let it run. And then as soon as somebody keys up in the area, I'll be listening into those conversations, as long as it's not frequency hopping or as long as it's not encrypted. But most of those, you know, the Academy Sports walkie-talkies, the little bubble pack walkie-talkies, even the Baofeng radios, right? We call this the Bubba Finder because, you know, a lot of people are not going to be using those more advanced type of radio equipment. By the way, that's the Uniden Bearcat. There's a few different models, but like the 75 XLT, which they don't make anymore, or the 125, or I think it's the SC30 or the SR30 or something like that, that I haven't even really looked at yet. But if you do want to get a Bubba Finder radio, I do encourage that. And then finally, we have open source intelligence. So this is as simple as, you know, getting online and finding local reporters and local politicians and local civic organizations, you know, whatever they're get access to their feeds, either on Facebook or Twitter or wherever else. That's just one very extremely basic way you can use open source intelligence. So if you want to support operations or you want to support security at the tactical level, those are some things that you can do. Next up, we have the operational level. And what I advise everyone to do, almost everyone to do, what we've been doing in our area in Brazos Valley, is linking up with groups or linking up with people in neighboring counties and information sharing. Especially the closer you get to Houston, or the closer you get to Dallas, or the closer you get to Austin, the more potentially actionable or relevant information they're going to be able to share with us. And that's especially so during an emergency. So now I've gone from building a network in my county to building a regional network that's either we can meet in person to person, we can meet with ham radio or a number of other ways. And now all of a sudden I have built an operational picture, right? I understand the entire operational area in this multi-county or regional area. And that's a little bit more advanced, but I do recommend everyone do that. Or like I said, almost everyone do that. And basically what that means is once you begin to set up your local intelligence network or your local prepper group, you need to start reaching out and finding people who are 30 minutes away in the next county over, helping them to develop an organization like you have built. That's the entire purpose of Brazos Valley Preparedness Network. Okay, we have our own prepper groups or whatever you want to call these people in this county. And what I want to do is build something very similar in surrounding counties. And now all of a sudden we can share information. So if something catastrophic were to pop off, now I have a little bit better picture of what's happening one county over that might eventually affect me, especially if you live near a big city. You know, if you live a couple of hours from a big city, you're concerned about some mass exodus or the Golden Horde or whatever. Yeah, you need to find people who are between point A and point B, and A is the city and B is you. You need to find people in between there who can maybe provide you some information. And then finally at the national level, I'm not really that concerned about, if I'm here in Central Texas, I'm not that concerned about what's happening in Northern California or, Southern Illinois or Vermont or wherever. That has basically zero bearing on me. But still, how can we in the preparedness community or people who practice SHTF intelligence, how can we support the national level? Where if there ever were a clearinghouse for national events or a clearinghouse for the national level intelligence picture, which we are trying to build at Forward Observer, by the way, then, if I had people from across the country, by the way, I don't even know that I could do this. Depending on how bad things get, I certainly would not be doing this. But if there were some national level clearinghouse, then what you could do is take reports from all across the country and build a national situation map. That's something that we've done at Forward Observer, and that's something that we're trying to do now. And we've used kind of a crowdsourced intelligence project that we've been calling Fox Company to take reports and build a national level picture. We may really ramp up that program if certain things start to develop. So for instance, the whole reason why we built that is anticipation of riots and mass protests, and really what I thought would be kind of a Euromaidan or like a Tahrir Square type of uprising where you had President Trump be reelected. And right now it doesn't look like he will, but you never know. President Trump being reelected through the courts would be very on brand for 2020. I'm not saying it won't happen. I think it's unlikely, but gosh, I sure would happy to be wrong about that. But if that were to happen, then we would be tracking the national picture, and we would love to have reports from local levels and kind of build out a national situation map of everything that's going on. So the point that I want you to get from this video is focus on the tactical level, 60% on or maybe more on the tactical level, because that is what's really going to affect you. That you have some level of influence. The wider your organization or the deeper your network or the more force projection you have through this network, the more you're going to be able to influence the local or the tactical level. One of my big complaints about these national level organizations is, you have guys, they would not even be able to prevent looters, 10 or 15 looters, from absolutely ransacking their neighborhood. You know why? Because they don't have 10 or 15 dudes to stand up with them. But you have these same people who say, well, I want to build this national level organization. Well, if you can't control what's going on in your neighborhood, you're sure as hell not going to be able to control what happens in the nation. This is kind of like Jordan Peterson's, clean your room. You want to change the world, that's great and all and wonderful. You can start by cleaning up your room. And if your room's not clean, then don't come talk to me about how you're planning for cleaning up everyone else's room. So at any rate, I think I've pretty much exhausted my thoughts. Plus, I'm in a food coma because we just got done eating Thanksgiving dinner for the second go around. So I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy your weekend, and keep working. Keep working on your area studies. Keep expanding your network. Keep expanding your influence. And if you keep on doing that, who knows? We could have days, we could have months, we could have years until something major really pops off, until all the things that we're concerned about accelerate to the point where we do start boiling over in this country, or we have a single trigger that results in widespread panic, chaos, or armed conflict, or whatever may be on the horizon for this country. Keep working on this stuff. It's going to matter. It matters today, in my opinion. It's mattered for me locally, and you're not going to regret. You will not regret expanding your local network of friends, family members, neighbors, acquaintances. And in the end, that is going to allow you greater access to information, which is going to increase your security and make your decision making during an emergency much, much easier. Thanks for watching. Until next time, be well and stay out front.